you're with me at home, I want you to say out loud, yes!
Yes!
Now type it. Type it on your phones and in your computer or wherever you're at. Yes!
Yes!
Welcome, boys and girls. Tough Cookies, I missed you. I love you all so much. It is Saturday night, and this is episode 103.
Woo!
Everybody say hello to handsome Will Donnelly.
Sup?
How you doing, Willie?
Good, how you doing?
Looking good.
I'm doing great. I had my first apple cider donut.
The connection real quick.
So,
Ooh, shit.
it was like outside. I can tell everyone that I had my first apple cider donut of the year today, so that it means it is officially fall.
Yeah, it's true.
So there you go. And it was good.
We got sound.
We have sound but no video. They can hear us, but they can't see us. 1 second in, and we're back.
All right, we are going to start tonight. By letting you all know that we have a very special guest. This amazing rock and roll book just came out this past week. It's on the bestseller list. Our good pal Stevie Zandt has a new book, and he's going to be dropping by Tough Cookies to talk about the rock and roll consigliere life. Before we do that, I want to play a little bit of Low Cut Connie's for you. I want to thank everybody out there who's come to see us over the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of shows coming up. Next week we're going to be in Jersey City.
Jersey City.
We're going to be in the Hamptons at Amagansett.
Bougie, baby.
Then we're going to be in Washington, D.C. at the 930 Club.
Historic.
That's where Willie grew up. And then we're going to be right here in Philly.
Also historic.
Let's start with a little Low Cut Connie called Now You Know. Ready, Willie?
Yeah.
Hands up. Are we cool, George? Hey, hey. Once again, let me know right now. Where are you? Are you in New Jersey? Are you in Florida? Are you in California? Are you in England? And how do you feel right now? How do you feel right now? It was a bad time to be a sensitive child. It was a bad time to be out in the wild. Hands up. Working in a club, out walking the strip. Oh well, river kind head, about to lose your grip. I'm a lonely boy, the cruelty of this land, this land. Oh, you will change your tune, my babe, one day. When you quit the scene, when you quit giving. to my good pal, my Jersey pal, who co-produced that song, Cover Me, off of one of the greatest selling albums of all time, Born in the USA.
Oh yeah, you like that album a lot?
Woo! By Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. You all knew that. This is an album that set a record for 7 top 10 hits.
It also set a gold standard for white guy butts.
Yes,
albums.
well, I feel like I sort of like took it up a notch.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, it's up there.
What do you mean not bad?
I'm seeing the replay right now.
Let me see you.
It's too much work for me to stand up.
Please. Yes, our good pal, Little Steven, who has been involved in so many things. Let's put it this way. He is in, arguably the greatest live rock and roll band on the planet. He's also part of the greatest television show of all time, no dispute, The Sopranos. You knew that.
Mm-hmm.
The man created a new radio format, Underground Garage. The man has been involved in activism and politics. He's been in film and TV. He had the very first streaming show on Netflix. Did you know this? Lillehammer is the first actually produced by Netflix series. He's a fascinating guy, and I want to go talk to my good pal Little Steven right now. Stevie Van Zandt. I started off asking him, having read this book, Unrequited Infatuations, he describes himself as a natural-born consigliere. Just like Willie over here. Woo, shit.
Hey, no.
Yes. For those of you that don't know what a consigliere is, well, I'm not going to tell you. Let Little Steven tell you. He has been a consigliere both to Bruce Springsteen and to Tony Soprano, and the late, great Jimmy Gandolfini, who I consider one of the great actors of the last 50 years. And we had a discussion about why Stevie Van Zandt, why is he a natural-born consigliere? So let's go join my conversation with our good pal Stevie Van Zandt. We'll be back real soon. 5, 4, here's Little Steven! One of the themes of the book is you talk about, you know, how you're a natural-born consigliere, okay? And something that really struck me early in the book, you know, you talked about how Bruce was shy, and in some ways you had to push him a little bit to embrace being a lead singer and being a star. And then later you talked similarly about Jimmy Gandolfini, how he wanted to quit, you know, The Sopranos multiple times, and you would talk to him and say, get the fuck out there and be the great actor that you are. What do these guys not have that you are able to give them in these situations?
Well, I mean, you know, it's easy to give advice, you know, from the bleachers. You know what I mean? If you're not on the field, it's kind of, you know, it's easier, man. You know, what I have is perspective. You know, I can see very clearly what's going on. You know, it's always easy to see somebody else's life. I can't see my own. You know, I mean, one of the reasons why I wrote the book was I was hoping it would explain my fucking life to me. You know, all right. Yeah. You know, but you know, you can really see clearly when it comes to other people, and if you care about them, you know, I tend to rise to that occasion. You know what I mean? I give very good advice when it's important. You know, and with Bruce, it was just kind of obvious. I just felt, you know, he should start using his own name. I don't know, you know. But with Jimmy, he just was, I think one of the reasons why we bonded was he was a natural character actor. You know, he wasn't you know, a natural lead guy, you know, and you know, and I understand that very well. You know, I'm the same way, and so, you know, it was just a matter of logic, you know, saying to him, look, you know, because he didn't know how good he was, really, you know. I mean, he's one of the greatest actors of all time, as far as I'm concerned, you know. And I don't think you ever can really evaluate yourself that way, you know.
Sure.
he was just shocked by the physical challenge of going from 2 pages a day in movies to 7 pages a day with TV, you know?
Sure.
I mean, which is, believe me, when you're trying to memorize something, you know, try it. Try to memorize a paragraph in a book, you know, and then try and memorize 4 pages. You know, believe me, it's a challenge. And at first he was like, no way, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this. Especially, in America, we work, from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. You go home and you got to memorize the 7 pages for tomorrow.
Sure.
I mean, it was very different when I got to Norway and did Lillehammer. Believe me, they believe in quality of life, man.
Yeah.
Don't call them after 5 o'clock,
Right.
Because they are not answering the phone.
That's
and
it.
on weekend, forget about weekends. And when they go on vacation, they don't give a fuck if the whole world is fucking crumbling. All right, they're very strictly 9 to 5. I mean, I'd be home. I'm like, damn. I can have dinner. I can have a meeting. I can live my life over here.
Sure.
Shocking. It was shocking. Of course,
Have you
as
been
the actor, I was thrilled. As the producer, I was like, we're not getting anything done.
Ready, Willie?
Hey.
Oh yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We're talking to our good pal, little Steven Van Zandt, tonight about his fantastic new book, Unrequited Infatuations. I encourage you all to go check it out. As you can tell, I'm schwitzing already. We have already overheated the camera. Ooh, shit. Ooh, shit.
It might keep coming out, but we will fix it.
We're working on it.
We're working on it as we speak.
I want to go all the way back to the beginning of little Steven's musical career. He began by playing not guitar, but by playing piano.
Oh, it's the piano. Huh?
He injured his finger in a football game.
Shit.
And ended what I'm sure would have been a great NFL Hall of Fame career. And in order to exercise his broken finger, he started playing piano. It turns out that one of the guys that he was messing around with in a little garage band called the Mods in New Jersey happened to be cousins with a band from here in Philadelphia. That's why I'm going to be calling this next song a Philly special.
Finger slip.
Oh, shit.
There we are.
The name of the band, if you don't know, was the Dovells. The Dovells. Do you know the Dovells?
What is a Dovel?
A Dovel is a Dovel.
Is it like a duvet?
It's a Dovel. I've never thought about what is a Dovel. I happened to, a few years ago, have met Jerry Gross, one of the singers from right here in Philadelphia, who's still going, touring with the Dovells. They had 2 incredible hits in the early 60s, and 10 years later, in the early 70s, they were already an oldies act. And they hired a very, very young piano player named Steven Van Zandt to go on tour with them to Las Vegas playing piano. And this is one of the songs that you should all know. I need you to all stand up right now, because there's a little song called You Can't Sit Down, You Can't Sit Down, You Can't Sit Down, You Can't Sit Down. Hey, pretty baby, you can't sit down. I hear the drummers in the thought, you can't sit down. You ain't looking crazy, baby. You're gonna tell me really something. And when I knock jumping, you better knock, stay bop, dop, take it. You
sound is really great.
Hey, you're doing great, George. You're doing great.
Oh my God, boys and girls. If you're with me at home, I just want you to type right now, I'm with you. I'm with you because I want you all to know, even though some of you are in California, England, Maine, Florida, God knows where you all are, we're all together in this feed. Norway.
Whoa.
We have some Lillehammer fans from Norway. I love you all so much. I love that we could get together on a Saturday night after a year and a half of not being able to wrap our arms around each other. We could still get together like this. Me and Willie and George and Camera Girl are going to keep this going. Tough Cookies is going to air once a month for the rest of the year. Right, Willie?
Yeah.
We have some very exciting guests coming up. So I encourage you all to stick with us. And you can go back to patreon.com/lowcutconnie. You can watch 102 episodes. Tonight is 103. You can see all my full interviews. And you could just be part of this amazing community. I thank you all so much. You know, going on tour with the band is a lot of fun. Sure. And even though that's our day job, it's nice to have this. I really look forward to doing this with all of you. Right, Willie?
We call it a side hustle, if you will.
A side, I don't know. It feels like a, I don't know.
It's like your guman.
It's like your gumar. Or maybe it's like Silvio Dante's gumar.
Yeah.
So little Steven, he's playing piano for the Dovells in the early 70s. And then
what happens?
he starts making some music with one of his best friends from his teenage years, Mr. Bruce Springsteen. And I would like to tell you that they shot like a rocket and got signed and took off and were famous right away, but it's not true. It actually took quite a few years. And during that time, while Bruce Springsteen was putting the E Street Band together, and little Steven was sort of in and out of the band, even though Bruce got signed to Columbia, you know, it was unclear if he was going to make it. Those first two Bruce Springsteen albums were not hugely successful. And so little Steven, because Bruce's manager, this is all in the book, because Bruce's manager did not want a second guitar player because times were tough in the band. They couldn't afford to have little Steven in the band. They kicked him out. And he started another band called Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. And that band became the house band at a little club called the Stone Pony in Asbury Park, where these guys right here are going to be playing on December 2nd weekend. What is it? December 10th?
Yeah.
It's almost sold out. So if you want to come see us in Asbury Park, make sure to get a ticket right away. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes had some amazing records. This is a song that little Steven, Stevie Van Zandt, wrote the song, produced the song, he arranged the horns. It's an amazing song off their very first record. This is called I Don't Want to Go Home. Put your hands up. Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. Yes.
Cha-cha-cha ending there.
Woo, shit. You know I love that cha. That is one of the many great songs that our guest tonight wrote, songs that he produced, did the arrangements for the band and the horns. Let's go talk to my good pal Stevie Van Zandt again about what the scene was like back in the middle 70s in that little seaside town called Asbury Park, New Jersey, where he was playing with the Asbury Jukes and Bruce Springsteen and all those people and creating the original New Jersey bar band scene. We'll be back real soon. Let's go talk to little Steven. 5, 4, woo, woo.
As a musician on that scene, as a performer on that scene, are you and all your compatriots all thinking, oh, let's try to get signed, let's try to get famous, or do you feel like this could be all we do and this is okay at this level?
Yeah, no, you didn't think that far ahead. That's what separated Bruce really from most of my friends. He was thinking that way. You know, he was always thinking way ahead and seriously about the business. Most everybody else was just like, you know, can we make a living doing this locally? You know, which was doable. You know, not easy, but doable. And we struggled with that because you really had to be a top 40 band, as it was known.
Sure.
To work in the bars. I mean, that was just not an option. You know, so once you got above the teenage stuff, the teenage clubs and like, you know, well, there were teenage nightclubs like the Le Rendezvous and the beach clubs and the high school dances. You know, once you got to that next level of bars, now things became real. And so you didn't have that freedom anymore. You had complete freedom as a teenager. You know, with your teenage band, you could do whatever you wanted, you know, but once you got to the bar level, it had to be the top 40 period. And by the time we got there, which was the 70s, the top 40 was no longer interesting, you know.
Yeah.
So we, as opposed to the 60s, when in my mind, it was the highest evolution of our art form that there would ever be, you know, you know, was the 60s pop music, you know.
I interviewed most of Sly and the Family Stone on this show. I couldn't nobody gets to talk to Sly, but I got to speak to Larry Graham and Greg Rico and all those guys. And they themselves said, you know, we were kind of the peak of the mountain in terms of this culture around the music. Was Sly and the Family Stone, you know, big for you? Did you listen to their records?
They were very big for me back then. And I'd say even bigger now. And really, that's what I modeled my Disciples of Soul on these previous 3 years, you know, the 17, 18, 19, when I had the most productive 3 years of my life. You know, I was really completely, Summer of Sorcery in particular.
Yeah.
You know, that Communion song that opens up the record.
Communion, great song. And it reminded me of Sly. That's why I asked.
Yeah, good, yeah. And you know, it was a show opener. I needed to write a show opener. And I wanted to continue what they were doing, you know, which was incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, the combination of various, you know, genres of music, along with the racial combination and the gender combination. I mean, you know, they were in many ways the ultimate,
and it was audaciously positive music, which is something I respond to in what you do. You are audaciously positive. You know, I saw the Disciples of Soul when you were in Philly on the Soulfire tour. And I said, God damn, it's so rare that we see anything anymore that's uplifting, that's positive. Everything is so cynical. Is that intentional during a time when people are feeling very cynical these days, that you try to write that way?
Yeah, Yeah, I think that's always been there. Even when I at my most political, I always try to leave it, in a positive way for the most part. Have some positive energy, being communicated. Almost always, I mean, when I'm telling stories that are not so pleasant, um, los desaparecidos or bitter fruit uh, I always, even then, you try to interject a little bit of, positive hope, a little bit of hope, into the mix, because, you don't want to go around whining and complaining about the world, I mean, what good is that? What was that gonna get you, So you want to, I look, every artist I feel should ask themselves what I ask myself all the time, which is, how can you be useful? How can you be useful? I mean, you got your work to do, you got certain things you got to do, but at some point you really got to ask yourself, how can I be useful? And I try to make my
Oh shit. Oh yes.
All right.
So a lot of you know the rest of the story about what happened with Little Steven and Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band over the second half of the 1970s, 1975 to 1980. Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town, The River. They have their first real hit on The River, already in their 30s, by the way, with Hungry Heart. But as I said at the beginning of the show, Born in the USA, which Little Steven co-produced, is when a star goes to superstar. And once in a while in the history of entertainment, there's something as seismic as Born in the USA was. And if you think about it, Tough Cookies, in the same year, in the same summer, you had Purple Rain with Prince, right? Yeah. You had Madonna at the absolute peak, on the, yeah, Like a Virgin. You've got Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, these 3 stadium tours that were following the same route. And if I encourage you to go online, look up Bruce Springsteen and Prince. Bruce and Prince, when they would intersect in a city, they would watch each other's show and they would get on stage together. Just amazing. What an amazing, amazing time for popular music. Off of that record, Born in the USA, there were 7 top 10 hits. We already did Cover Me. And you all know all these songs, but I want to do one of my favorite songs off that record called Darlington County. Everybody sing along. Arlington County off the Born in the USA. Nice one, Willie.
You too, man. You did great.
Are we cool, Georgie?
You're cool.
Woo! Everybody, give it up for Camera Girl. She is holding an overheating camera. It's like 9,000 degrees in this room. Oh shit, I'm schwitzing. Are you schwitzing at home? Is anybody doing robe time at home? Because my robe is still...
It's still at the dry cleaner.
The dry cleaner said it might never ever be able to be cleaned. We frozen?
Yeah, we're back.
Woo, shit.
Froze for a second, but we're cool.
The dry cleaner said that my robe might never, ever, ever, ever recover.
What did you do to that robe?
Fungus. 101 shows with one velour robe.
It actually got sent to a biology lab. They discovered a couple new species.
It's like a science project.
Got you.
I want to talk about what little Steven did in the late 90s, though. After a bunch of years doing all kinds of super interesting things, including being absolutely integral to the American boycott of South Africa. I absolutely encourage you to read about this in the book. Little Steven was instrumental in creating this boycott of Sun City, which was a entertainment resort in South Africa during apartheid that so many entertainers from around the world would perform, even though ostensibly they were in a boycott of South Africa. Little Steven orchestrated a total boycott. He went to South Africa and put himself in very dangerous situations. I encourage you to read this, but he played a real serious role in making serious change in South Africa and bringing apartheid to an end. But in the late 90s, we cool?
Yeah, 1 second. There we are. We're back.
In the late 90s, a little guy named David Chase saw Steven giving a speech inducting the Rascals into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he said, I want you to be in my new TV show. It's called The Sopranos. And the rest is history. All right, Willie, come on, let's do it. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Mama always said you were chosen one. You're one in a million, you got to burn to shine. It's a shame about it. 1 in a million, got that blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, blue moon in your eye. Come on, sing. Woke up this morning, blue moon in your eye. Woke up this morning, got your gun. Papa never told you what was right and wrong. You 1 in a million, got that shotgun shine, shame about it. 1 in a million, yeah. Blue moon in your eyes, come on now. Woke up this morning, blue moon in your eye. Yeah, this morning, this morning, got yourself a gun. Woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. Yes! Oh God! I love The Sopranos so much. It's my favorite TV show. Oh my God! I just can't believe that I'm talking to Silvio Dante.
Sil.
The greatest consigliere ever. Another amazing moment from Little Steven's fabulous rock and roll book. And I'm gonna let him tell the story. Is about when just a few years ago he went over to Liverpool, and he was doing a tour where he was remembering those very first Beatles records that he heard when he was a little kid that turned him on to rock and roll. And on that tour, Paul McCartney surprised him and came up on stage to play with him. And let me hear from Little Steven about what that was like. We'll be back really soon. Clip 4, yes. There's a beautiful moment in this book where you talk about being on stage with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, who I consider the greatest American. Stevie, I get chills when you write about Paul McCartney coming on stage with you. Not only that, Ray Davies is in the audience. You know, Ray Davies, who I consider, you know, one of the top 5 rock and roll songwriters ever.
Yeah, I did a nice one.
Tell me about that night.
Yeah, I you know, it was just one of those rare moments when, you know, I had flown in just from my other sort of, you know, bucket list accomplishment of being in a Marty Scorsese movie. You know, the night before, did a little cameo in The Irishman, and then I flew in. Huh?
You were Jerry Vale.
Yeah. It would have been, you know, Jerry left us, you know, and allowed me to do that. Or else it would have been Jerry himself. Anyway, I get to the sound check late in London. We're starting the English tour. I get there late because I'm just flying in, and I'm half delirious anyway. And it's like I walk in, and the sound check is pretty much over. And I get a phone call. Paul McCartney might be coming to the show tonight. I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, what if he wants to do something? You know, we got to prepare something. So I had him hold the doors, and it was like, I think it was raining out, I think, because it was like 3,000 people trying to get in. And I just said, you know, let's do a. I know Paul's a fan of Little Richard, you know, because if it wasn't for Paul, I never would have heard of Little Richard, you know, you know, and the Beatles. So I said, let's do a Little Richard version of I Saw Her Standing There. And I just, you know, put basically the Little Richard horn line on there, and real quick, we ran to it one time, and then sure enough, he shows up, and he had, you know, he's been touring now constantly at that point. You know, he just was like, you know, him and Bob Dylan both, they don't, you know, they're on the road all the time. So I thought it was very unusual for him to go out and socialize, you know, and it's with his great wife, Nancy. And so I said, Paul, you know, I really appreciate you coming. Don't feel any obligation to come on stage. Just relax. And I tell you, you're going to love this band. I put together one of the greatest bands in history. You're going to love this band. And just you and Nancy sit with Maureen and just, you know, enjoy yourself. Don't just totally relax, you know? And so that was that. And when, you know, I'm taking the bow for the encore, my roadie comes up, he's coming on. You know, I was like, oh man, I hope we remember the song that we just rehearsed once. But you know, what kind of balls does it take for him to do that, right? He doesn't know what I'm going to do. He had no idea, right? No rehearsal. you know, I mean, it was an incredibly ballsy and just a real blind faith. Showed a lot of blind faith in me. You know what I mean?
Your band and you and your band.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so it really was such a magical moment of my life. You know, that the endorsement of him coming on my stage. You know, yes, he come up with the E Street Band, which was great, and he had me and Bruce play with him at the Garden, which was nice. You know, all that is great. But coming on my stage, you know, that's something different. That's different. And it was one of the great moments of my life, without a doubt. And as was working with Scorsese 24 hours earlier, you know, again, one of the great moments of my life. I love Scorsese so much and respect him so much. And I run into him, you know, I run into him every couple of years, just like I run into Bob Dylan. And, you know, finally got a chance to work together for just, you know, I'm on the screen for about 4 seconds, but it's okay.
But
It was enough.
It's a beautiful scene because for anybody that's watching that's seen The Irishman, everybody's seen The Irishman. You know, we get Bobby De Niro, Al Pacino, Harvey Keitel, and Joe Pesci on screen together in one room. Okay, in a film directed by who I consider the greatest director of the last 50 years. And you're in that scene. It was real emotional for people, I think, to watch that. Certainly for me.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh, yeah, God, I get chills hearing about that. I can't tell you all how much I love Martin Scorsese and all his films, and to hear him talking about working on The Irishman, to hear him talking about playing with Paul McCartney, it gives me chills. Little Steven is a lifer, a rock and roll lifer. One of the songs that he performed, he's got this record. Steven has this record called From Mecca to Mecca. It's a live record of his performance on that UK tour where he was actually performing at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, which is where the Beatles famously started.
Yes,
and he performed a song. It's not quite a song from 100 years ago, but it is a song from about 60 or 70 years ago. It's almost a song from 100 years ago, George. Sorry.
We need an almost graphic.
Almost. We need an almost. This is a song by an artist that I want everybody watching to know about. Arthur Alexander was an incredible R&B singer in the early 60s who had some incredible hits like Anna, that was covered by the Beatles, and this song that I'm about to do. And this is a song that's very near and dear to my heart because when I was doing my little solo project called Ladyfingers before Low Cut Connie, back in my 20s, I used to perform this song every night, every single night, and people would just love this song. So I want you all to put your hands up and sing this with me. When I go, I say, lay down your arms. You say, he's a soldier of love. And I say, and surrender to me. And you say, he's a soldier of love. Help me out, Willie.
All right.
Lay down your arms and surrender to me. Lay down your arms, love me peacefully. That's right. Use your arms to tease me, baby. That's the way it's gotta be. There ain't no reason for you to declare Beatles, but the original is by Mr. Arthur Alexander. My good friend, right here from Philly, Mr. Ben Vaughn, who has a fabulous radio show on Saturday nights after Tough Cookies. You can listen to it.
Hey, that's convenient.
In the very end, at the very end of Arthur Alexander's life, he was a bus driver. He had been out of the music business for 30 years. And my pal, Ben Vaughn, he found him. I believe it was in Detroit. Or maybe it was I can't remember. Detroit, I think. And got him a record deal and made one beautiful, beautiful last record before he passed away. Arthur Alexander, fabulous, fabulous R&B singer. Check him out. Boys and girls, stick around. Even though we are almost out of time, we are going to keep going on our Patreon page. For those of you that are Patreon members, in about 5 minutes at the conclusion of the broadcast, we're going to take 2 minutes to towel off. I'm going to towel off Will. He's going to towel off me. We're going to towel each other off.
That's not part of the broadcast.
Yes, that will be off camera.
Yes.
Then we will do an extra little show for all of our Patreon members, a little after party. So please join us. Also, I'm going to continue my interview with little Steven. Now, that interview with Steven is a full hour. At the conclusion of this broadcast, George is going to post the entire hour-long conversation with little Steven. So please, please check it out at patreon.com/lowcutconnie. I encourage you to check out this fantastic, this is the Rock and Roll Book of the Year, Unrequited Infatuations. Real quick though, I want to say a quick goodbye and thank you just for our free broadcast to Steven Van Zandt. Thank you so much, Steven, for being a part of this little Tough Cookie show. Thank you for your great work. Thank you for this great book. Let's go talk to, this is clip 5, to my good pal, little Steven Van Zandt. We'll be right back. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Listen, you're part of the greatest American live band ever. You were part of the greatest television show of all time. And that's not just my opinion. That's everybody knows that. You were part of the very, very first Netflix exclusive series, Lilyhammer, which is fantastic. You produced on Broadway. I mean, you started a new radio format, as I said, and now you got the Rock and Roll Book of the Year. And I just can't wait to see what you do next, my pal. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Whatever it is, it'll not be what I'm planning.
Don't plan.
And I know.
Miami Steve says, don't fucking plan.
Don't fucking plan. Thank you, Steven. We're going to keep talking to Steven on Patreon.